So, what's the first thought that comes to your mind when I say police officer? Please share in the comment section below. People have polar opposite views when they hear the word police officer. Until both sides don't cross paths and talk to better understand each other, we will always stay in our own corners. After all, these police officers come from our family and friend circle. Today, we will hear the story of a very accomplished law enforcement professional, officer of the Vice and Narcotics Unit, Captain Kevin Hunter of the Fort Wayne Police Department.
Hi, Sam. How are you? So, my definition of success is I feel very fortunate that I get to do what I love. I really love helping people. So, that has been my whole goal in life is how can I do the best job possible to help the most amount of people? Um, when I got into the police academy, one of the things that I said during my interview was I see law enforcement as a public service job, like a really big customer service job. So helping people and helping the city as well. And I feel that I can do that very well in the role as a police officer. Growing up, I always wanted to be a police officer, even just as a very little kid. That's all that I ever wanted to do. My parents were very supportive. I grew up in a very happy family. And once I got into the police department, I had a family of my own and have several children from a previous marriage that I'm still connected to. I have a daughter of my own, and now I'm remarried, and I have two stepkids of my own. And we're a really good blended family. There's a lot of that in America right now. Um, my kids, I'm very proud of my kids. My daughter teaches and works with autistic children. So I have really passed on to her my desire to help others, and she has that helping attitude as well. So I'm really proud that she's really out in the community doing great work and really helping people. So when I started out in the police department, I was a road officer on second shift. I did that for a number of years and then got the chance to work a short time as an undercover officer in narcotics. That wasn't for me at the time, so I only stayed there 90 days, but I did learn a lot. And from there, I actually started training as a law enforcement instructor. So I learned how to teach officers how to detect drunk drivers and how to arrest drunk drivers. And then went into a program called the Drug Recognition Program, where I taught officers how to learn how to recognize people under the influence of drugs. It was a great program, and to this day, I still use that information. Um, and certainly, as my career progressed, I became a sergeant and in 2002 and went to the first shift and was a sergeant on first shift, and then had an opportunity to oversee what was called the street crimes unit, and that was a very good experience for me. So I had a team of guys that we went out and looked for people who broke into cars or broke into houses or did other things. And a very small unit. We had a great time and did lots of good work. I also became a crisis negotiator around that time, and then in 2005 became the commander for the Fort Wayne Police Department Crisis Negotiation Unit. So uh, from there, I got promoted to lieutenant and eventually ended up going to internal affairs for a few years, and that was a great experience. I learned a lot about the police department and the inner workings of law enforcement. And then got promoted to captain in August of 2012 and then took over the vice narcotics unit. So that was a big leap for me. I knew a little bit about narcotics, but didn't know a lot. So I learned as I went. And then in about 2014, 2015 is when we saw the opioid crisis hit, and which really changed things. So I've been a captain ever since. I'm currently now still doing some narcotics related work, but I'm also on the chief staff and do some administrative work as well. So I have really had a great career, and I would just tell everybody, any opportunity that you're given, take it, because you just don't know where that's going to lead you. And every time I've taken an opportunity, I've always been glad that I did. The struggles that I've had throughout my career really have just been dealing with difficult situations from time to time. There's something called compassion fatigue that officers deal with on a regular basis. And, there are times that seeing death and destruction on a regular basis can really adversely affect people. So the struggle is really just trying to stay grounded and really focus on what I'm doing and basically taking care of myself, taking care of my family, and taking care of my community. And when I can do all those three things, then that struggle of compassion fatigue isn't as affecting as much. Interestingly, I have no regrets in my career. I've always taken new opportunities whenever they're presented to me, and that is one thing I would tell people. Anytime you're presented with a new opportunity, take it, because you never know where that is going to lead to you and your future. Back in around the early 1990s, I had a friend with me who was a reserve officer in training. Uh, we went to work that day. We had just had an ice storm the night before, and we saw this vehicle. We went and did a traffic stop on it. It went down an alley and got stuck in the alley because it was so icy. I approached the driver and asked him for his license and registration, and asked the general question that I always ask: do you have any guns, knives, or explosive devices on your person? He said no, and he reached in his pocket, pulled out a handful of bullets, and threw them on the dash. I eventually got him out and started to pat him down, and I found drugs on his person. As I started to take him into custody, put handcuffs on him, I slipped and fell, and he reached over and took my gun from my holster and pointed it at me and told me to get back. As he was running away with my gun, I had a second gun on me and told him to stop. We actually shot at each other, but we both missed. And then he continued on running. I started to run after him, but I remembered I didn't have any more ammunition, so I stopped and called for help. It was about a year later, he was arrested for armed robbery and a bunch of other charges. He actually went to prison for about 7 years. And one day I'm in class. I'm just finishing up my bachelor's degree at Indiana Tech. And I look over, and who do I see?
Thank you for watching the video. So what's your thoughts? Please share in the comment section below, and make sure to like, share, and most importantly, hit that subscribe button. I'll be back soon with another inspiring story. Until then, be inspired and keep inspiring.